Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, thanks for listening. If you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name's Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be discussing something that I think all of us have fallen short with before, and it's emotional overeating and things that we do when we're emotional or compulsive with certain things that can become bad for us if it's taken in without moderation. I want to say hi to Ed behind the glass. And
on a very hot, muggy Thursday. Hello.
It sure is here in Florida. And thanks for everything you do, Ed. And today, my guest is a psychotherapist, licensed psychotherapist, and she's a graduate from Columbia University and has over 20 years of clinical experience and was once even herself a former overeater, a former emotional overeater. And also at MBA, she's developed programs on stress management, emotional overeating, and other mental health issues while on staff at settings such as diverse as American Express and TRS, Lenox Hill Hospital Cancer Center. And she has a recent book, and it's called Let Go of Emotional Overeating and Love for Your Food, a 5-point plan for success. And it was published last fall, and the reviews have been excellent. And I want to welcome to Moments of Clarity, Arlene Englander. Hi, Arlene. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi. Thanks for having me on, Tiffany.
Sorry there's some confusion about getting on the show and everything, but you're here, and we're going to have a wonderful show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, and thank you so much for your time. I've been really looking forward to discussing this because I know that I have personally a lot of clients that do suffer with bad habits, compulsions, obsessions, and take it out with self-medicating, and it not just addiction with food, but with a lot of things that we can find that are bad for us when not handling our core emotional problems. And
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, thanks. So, in your professional opinion, and I know that you've got this book, Let Go of Emotional Overeating and Love for Your Food, a 5-point plan for success. I'm looking forward to promoting that. But so every guest I have on the show, I ask when they found their moment of clarity. And so when you first started off studying and becoming a specialist with overeating, you said that before you were yourself an emotional overeater. So what did you find your moment of clarity was, and how did it all begin for you?
Well, it was very interesting because my moment of clarity came when I already was a licensed clinical social worker. I had already completed my training at Columbia, and in fact, I was an administrator at a psychiatric hospital that had a well-known, a world-renowned eating disorders unit. At that point, I didn't even realize that I myself had the issue.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. A physician heal thyself.
Right.
I wasn't even aware. I kind of thought that a lot of the behaviors I had engaged in, such as when I was in college, eating whatever was available, whatever I could find or was in sight from the candy and snack machines for a couple of days, and then eating nothing for several days other than having coffee or Diet Coke or another bad habit, smoking cigarettes. So binging and fasting, and then for years yo-yo dieting. I really, in my mind, thought this was normal behavior until when I was an administrator at the facility that helped people with these issues and sat in on groups where mindful eating was being taught, which is a big focus of the work that I do, and it's something I really enjoy doing myself, a skill that can be learned, which has to do with learning how to, first and foremost, handle stress away from the table effectively, which is an important underpinning to all of this, and hopefully we will get to that as well. Handling stress effectively away from the table so that we can sit down, relax, savor our food, truly enjoy and love it, and then stop just at the point of satisfaction without overeating. In fact, my definition of emotional overeating, my working definition, is that it's different than healthy eating in that healthy eating is for enjoyment and the satisfaction of hunger, whereas emotional overeating is eating in a desperate attempt to distract ourselves from painful thoughts and feelings. So I would really say that it was when I first experienced and saw mindful eating firsthand in a somewhat removed position from it, I realized that this was something that I needed to learn how to do that would make my life not only healthier, but more enjoyable. And it has.
Yeah. I wonder what we're all doing on Thanksgiving.
A lot of mindless eating. And it's a good point because that is very much fueled by a misconception in our society about good foods, bad foods, good behavior, bad behavior around it, forbidden foods, and what have you. And most nutritionists today do believe, most evolved nutritionists believe that the most effective eating plan is 80 to 90% healthy foods and 10 to 20% fun foods. So if you're eating turkey all year in moderation, if you're having a small number of some of those sides, a very small portion, including some of the starchy ones, if you allow yourself a tiny sliver of pecan pie every once in a while, you're not going to have the need to binge on those foods once or twice a year. To have a few bites of it and feel that you've eaten a bad food, therefore you're bad. And then what do emotional overeaters do? They want to desperately to distract themselves from painful thoughts and feelings. So that feeling of being bad very often needs, according to the emotional overeater, to be drowned in food.
It's like soul food or stress eating or things that people call that.
Exactly. And, what's really important to learn, and it took me quite a few years to learn, is that there are so many healthier, more effective ways to self-soothe. And that's really one of many, key aspects of getting past this, that there are so many other ways to self-soothe. There are so many other ways to feel better about ourselves.
So what were you going through at the time? Did you ever figure that out? I mean, I know you were saying just in college and just bad nutritional habits, but when we call it emotional overeating, was there something going on that you were self-soothing from at the time? Yeah. In retrospect, some of the fundamentals of cognitive behavioral therapy have to do with tuning into our pain-producing thoughts, how we speak to ourselves in ways that are not compassionate. And clearly, like many of us in the country, and in fact, I've done seminars on CBT for companies, law firms. I did one for all of the physicians at Brooklyn Medical Center's Emergency Medical Center. And invariably, when I do these talks and talk about pain-producing thoughts, everyone in the room silently nods their head and points to themselves. So I was unaware engaging in pain-producing thoughts that are all too rampant in our society. And I'll give a couple of examples. For example, negative self-labeling.
when I understand a lot of college students will be listening to this today, young people and what have you. For example, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and a fellow didn't call me back for a date, I would say to myself, "Oh, I must be unattractive. I must be ugly. I must be uninteresting and boring, whatever the negative level might be." And I would say that, unfortunately, as I stood in front of the fridge, downing an entire box of Entman's chocolate chip cookies was one of my substances of choice. And yes, food can be a substance.
Yeah, everyone loves those Entman's cookies. So, but and not only that, but if you look at media today, the movies and everything, they're like, he dumped me, and they're downing a pint of Ben & Jerry's or ice cream or stuff. I mean, that's true. How women are portrayed to feel rejected.
They endorse that. They help to make that behavior better known and more mainstream. But what was really sad is that I wasn't really distracting myself from the pain effectively, and I certainly wasn't enjoying what I was having. I mean, right now I can have 3 or 4 of those cookies sitting and savoring them with a glass of skim milk on the side and really have a wonderful experience. So what I needed to learn how to do was to tune into those pain-producing thoughts, because drowning them in food wasn't working. What I needed to learn to do was to say to myself, hey, there's no reason to label myself that way, to speak to myself, and this is key, to learn how to speak to ourselves as a compassionate friend would do, to be that person within ourselves, and to say things like, hey, maybe the two of you aren't right for each other. You know that you have a lot of good qualities. You're a caring friend. You're a hardworking student. You're a devoted daughter. You have a curious mind. You have a lot of interest. Whatever it might be, rather than this negative labeling that causes us emotional pain. And some of the other pain-producing thoughts, for example, are the shoulds, the tyranny of the shoulds. Yeah,
the should world. Dr. Amber Baker said on the show earlier that we should stop shoulding ourselves. The should world.
That's a common joke in the field. Yep. Karen Horney, MD, was probably the first internationally well-known psychoanalyst. And Karen Horney referred to this as the tyranny of the shoulds. She was really, it's a good one.
It's a good one. It's humorous, though, still, but yeah.
Right. She was it's humorous because it's so real.
I know.
It?
And the humor ones are the ones that stick in our brain. Arlene, hold on one second. It's time for a break, but I want to get to the tyranny, the pyramid of shoulds, and I find it really interesting.
The tyranny of the shoulds.
The tyranny of the shoulds. We're going to take a commercial break. Just hang on the line, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you or your loved one suffering from addiction to drugs or alcohol? My name is Steven Sundquist, and I'm a recovered addict. You are not alone. My team of dedicated professionals at All In Solutions Counseling Center is waiting to help you. With our evidence-based services, you can rely on us to help you get your life back. As addicts, we create a lot of excuses as to why it's not the right time to go to treatment. But the reality is there is no such thing as the right time when your addiction is the one in control. We accept most major insurances, offer a variety of treatment options, and can assist in the process of utilizing resources such as the Family Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. In my experience, FMLA allowed me to get the help I needed to return back to my place of employment with a healthy state of mind. Call now, 561-289-0779. Again, that number is 561-289-0779. 3 years ago, I made the call. Will you?
The promise of the new decade is that you can change your life by changing the way you think about your money. You must learn how to make more money, save more money, grow your money, and protect your money. Forever Forward Financial specializes in teaching